Alright, I found a bug with the new jerk mechanics. I think that's what's causing this. And it actually kind of messes up flight controls quite a bit. So it pretty much makes it so that it's almost like you have like atmospheric mechanics here. So what happens is, let's say I'm like flying along at a speed, okay, right? So everybody, you know, you should know that right now my thrusters aren't firing at all, right? So if theoretically I were to rotate and I didn't keep my throttle input in, so if I zeroed my throttle and then rotated, my vector shouldn't shift at all, right? So basically what it should look like is this, okay? That's if I zeroed my throttle in coupled mode and then rotated. But what I'm going to show you is that it the spool up, whatever the spool up thing, it thinks that the thrusters are firing right now, which they're not because I'm already at top speed. So what's going to happen is whichever way I turn, I'm going to get lateral displacement in that direction. And that actually really messes up a lot. So, all right, so here we go. I'm going to use this like side of the station as reference. So zero my throttle. Oh, I didn't mean to decouple there. But you saw like I went like behind this thing, right? Like if it had worked the way it should have worked, I would be like over here right now. So let me do it again and I won't decouple this time. I was going to use this terraformer solar arrays, but they rotate, so I thought that might mess with some people. So basically, like see where my nose is pointed? My ship should stay on that line because it just should. Like it's in space, so if I zero my throttle, I'm commanding no translation. So my ship should do nothing other than stop me. All right, here we go again. And it used to work right before, so I'm going to zero my throttle right before I hit the edge of this thing, and then I'm just going to pitch up. And you can see I start to rotate around the station. So, yeah, that's a bug. It's not supposed to do that. It's almost like I'm using airfoils, like traditional atmospheric flying, because that's what would happen if I had drag acting against my airfoils as I slowed down. So that's interesting. So like that kind of, it's like that takes effect when you're doing more maneuvers than just what I was doing. But this is like the only way you would actually notice it happening, because like if I'm, even if I'm like still keeping my strafe or still keeping my throttle or whatever, the fact that it thinks right now, it thinks that my thrusters are spooled right now, but my thrusters aren't spooled. They're not firing. See, thrust to zero. So, I get this sideward motion. That time I didn't zero the throttle until I had started to turn, so that kind of messed with it a little bit. But I'll like do the same exact thing with strafe, and you can see my strafe input in the lower right-hand corner there. So I'm just gonna zero my strafe and then pitch up. And you saw like it basically thought that my thrusters were still spooled, but they shouldn't have been because I was already at my top speed. So, I mean, I don't know. Let me check the animation. I know the animations don't match reality. Yeah, even the animation doesn't have my thruster going. So, oh, well, apparently, okay, maybe I just have my graphics settings set so it doesn't show up. But, yeah. Maybe I can do this from third person perspective. Alright, so right before I get to the edge of this solar dish, I'm gonna zero my throttle and pitch. And yeah. And that thing's rotating, so that probably messed with you a little bit, but let me do it for the side of the terraformer. Let me do it laterally, see what happens. Alright, so there's full speed right there. Zero, turn. Yeah. No, no, no. It's not supposed to be like this. This is space. Okay. So that's a bug, so I'm putting it on the issue council.
Yeah.